Phoenix ASO. ASO Labs here. Say, have you all had any reports of unknown flying objects over there?
No, we haven't.
Oh, okay, we're wondering. We supposedly are having quite an invasion over here.
In this episode of Tales of the Strange and Unexplained, we'll be covering a shocking case of multiple UFO incursions into the controlled airspace of Edwards Air Force Base in California over a period of about 6 hours, which has declassified control tower audio, which I have for you today, many military witnesses, multiple radar station hits, lots of detailed documentation, and cooperation. So, here's what happened. It's a great case, by the way. So on the night of October 7th, 1965, at Edwards Air Force Base, the air traffic controller on duty during the midnight shift was Chuck Shirls. At around 1:30 a.m., he noticed an unusually bright light to the east of his air traffic tower, and the object displayed a green light with a pulsating red light beneath it and a glowing white light on top. Listen to this audio that was declassified decades after the incident.
I have another red light and green light combination in sight, moving very rapidly over the field this time. I'm going to check with my RAPCON to see if they have any movement in that area.
Phoenix ASO. ASO Labs here. Say, have you all had any reports of unknown flying objects over there?
No, we haven't.
Oh, okay, we're wondering. We supposedly are having quite an invasion over here.
What area? In our area?
No, it's over around Victorville and Edwards there. I was wondering if any of your sites or any of your bunches over there have called anything in.
No.
Okay, fine. Thank you much.
Right.
By multiple witnesses, there was one large UFO and several smaller ones. Given that no aircraft were in the area at that time, Sorrells contacted the base operations dispatcher, the on-duty weather forecaster, smart, and personnel from the Interceptor detachment to observe the phenomenon. However, conversations with the radar operators on the base, known as RAPCON, confirmed that no aircraft were in the vicinity. However, the pilots were seeing very strange things. Listen to this.
Yes, sir. Counting that. Well, there's 4 altogether. Right. There's 2 in a line, and then there's 3 in a line. Yeah. The 3 in a line would run westward, and the other one would run up parallel with the right one. Yeah. Right. Is that what you're saying? Yeah, that's one thing. Okay. Will you do us a favor? We're looking for about 7 UFOs here.
Well, maybe.
Here is Come Ontario International.
Will you?
Well, how far north of Ontario? Okay. We're not positive. This is coming from report from Edward St. George.
How far in here?
Did he come from the northeast? Yes. No, he came from the northeast. Meaning these guys at 8,000 feet. There are about 7 of them. They're red, white, and green flashing lights. They have been sighted visually. And they're climbing now. And we wonder if you're picking them. We're trying to get a cross-section here. They're red, also the 2 towers, George Tower. Also on Edwards Tower.
Huh? Wait, describe it for me.
Sure.
Sorrells reported the sightings to the air defense personnel at the Los Angeles Defense Center, and subsequent checks revealed that at least 4 different radar sites were receiving returns on the object. The UFOs were also visible from other towers, such as George Tower that we just heard, and here is the evidence for that.
I watched it look at it through the glasses, and at first appearance it looked just like a star.
Yeah.
And then it started, it was white and green, it's flashing white and green, and on what appears might be the bottom, and at first appearance it looked just like a star.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not intermittent flashing, it appears to be space.
I see. In other words, the light fades in and out, so then a definite flash.
A definite flashing, similar to what aircraft anti-collision lights do.
Oh, yeah.
But it definitely isn't
You got that flag, or constant enough to be an aircraft. Well, let's bring our hydrometers around here and see if we can dig up something. And it's definitely changed its color from white to red, or white to green, and red. The red flash is strong enough to block out the rest of it to the naked eye, so it appears to be white, from white to green to red. Can you hear any form out of the thing, what it looks like? I haven't checked it. It appears to move a lot closer to it. I haven't checked it with the glasses.
The large UFO remained mostly stationary, while the several smaller UFOs were moving all over the place. And over the course of 2 to 3 hours, the situation escalated to the point where a decision was made to scramble a jet to investigate, a move coordinated within higher headquarters, possibly involving NORAD. Initially, Searles observed one large bright object that remained mostly stationary and too close to the horizon to be a star. Later, 3 more objects appeared, displaying similar lighting characteristics and moving in formation, but only at certain times. Eventually, 3 additional individual objects appeared, making very complex maneuvers in various directions. At one point, Searles counted 7 objects in the sky, but he wasn't the only person witnessing this.
This is the tower at Edwards. We have an object now over the field. He is right over the field, right over Edwards, moving southward fairly rapidly. And this thing also has, I can make out red and white flashing lights. And the captain at Det 1 has confirmed this. He can also see this.
If you're enjoying what you're hearing so far, please hit the like button. It lets me know that you're enjoying the show, and it tells YouTube, hey, you want more content just like this. Now, attempts to intercept the UFOs with the jet proved unsuccessful. The pilot would report contact, and that's in quotation marks, on his cockpit radar multiple times, but what he was making contact with remained unknown. At one point, as the Interceptor climbed to about 40,000 feet, the object ascended rapidly, causing the jets to pass just beneath it. And when asked by the director how the jet was positioned relative to the object, Searles responded that despite being at 40,000 feet, the jet was still low compared to the rapidly ascending object. The Interceptor made contact with the objects about 3 times, only to lose them shortly thereafter. And throughout the remainder of Searles' shift, the UFOs continued moving across the sky. As daylight approached, the objects ascended higher and higher into the atmosphere, eventually disappearing from sight as the morning light washed away the stars. But here's the crazy thing. During this time frame in the 1960s, each military base had supposedly designated UFO officers responsible for matters related to UFOs. At Edwards Air Force Base, it was this UFO officer who ultimately gave the authorization to investigate the mysterious objects. While the Air Defense Director for the Los Angeles Defense Sector and the radar controllers were keen to examine the phenomenon, they required the UFO officer's approval to proceed legally, meaning they were not able to do anything until they received authorization. You have to listen to this.
Painting over Edwards at 11:05. Edwards is observing them from the ground. 2 towers observing them, and we're carrying painting and radar. They're flashing white, green, and red. And we have a track on them, Kilo 157. They're heading west. They're at this time approximately 20 miles west of Edwards. Let's see, I'm holding them now with the birds that flew through the air, 50 miles west of Edwards. 50 west? Yeah. Now, talk to the sergeant, the UFO people at Edwards. The first place I should tell you that Norton UFO referred this back to Edwards as being in their area. There's a lieutenant is the UFO responsible officer in bed, 3 miles away. The sergeant should tell you
Interestingly, Edwards Air Force Base was home to a rocket site at the time where various fuel combinations were being tested through rocket burns. From Sorrell's vantage point in the tower, the location of the large stationary UFO appeared to be directly above the rocket site. The F-106 jet that was scrambled to investigate the object referred to the crafts as a cold bird, meaning it was unarmed. The decision to send an unarmed aircraft further underscores the perplexing and unprecedented nature of the situation. Here is the audio of the scrambling of the jets.
They are scrambling their UFO officer out of the pad, and I talked to, I don't know who's making the decisions, I talked to Major Healy over at Hamilton. Yeah. And if they requested a bird to go up and take a look, we were going to send our Alpha Limas up from Edwards. Yeah.
But as I had mentioned earlier, the pilots were unable to do anything until they received authorization from the UFO officer. And here is that interaction between one of the pilots and the UFO officer. And as you can hear, the pilot is very confused on who this person is and why their ranking is so high. And before I even share the audio with you, did you know that some Air Force bases even had UFO officers? And I didn't know this, and it blew my mind. Take a listen.
Yeah, you're a UFO officer? Yes, sir. Okay, I've coordinated with my people at the next level, and they're willing to let a bird go. Take a look. We got the 106 available. Right.
The directive I have says only that if it's within the existing policy, to go ahead and do it. So it depends on your policy. As far as I'm concerned, it would be a good idea.
Well, actually, the way I coordinated it with my people is we're standing by for your request.
Okay. So that's fine. And if you have a request.
Okay, let me get you the spelling of your name for my log. Captain what?
B-A-L.
B-A-L-E-N-T. Okay, and you're UFO officer at Edwards?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and I guess somebody has the number to reach you back.
Right, sir.
I'll re-coordinate this now because it's been some time.
All right.
But we do have live data on them.
Okay.
We should be able to pick them up all right. So I'll get in touch.
Fine.
Roger.
I'll wait for your call.
Right, thank you.
Hello, this is Captain Clark, Alpha Lima.
Okay, Captain Clark, Lieutenant Reed.
Yeah.
We have some confirmed reports of some unidentified flying objects in your area.
Okay.
Approximately 6 or more from Edwards. They're just south of Victorville. And we'd like to we have information from 28th. We also have some height finder cuts on them anywhere from 3,000 up to 13. They're moving slowly and climbing slowly. They're red, white, and green flashing lights. And they have been confirmed on radar.
I see.
We can't use one of your alert birds, but do you have another 106?
Oh, that's all we have.
That's all you have.
That's all we have is the 6 on alert.
Okay, just a moment. I'll let you speak to the senior director. Maybe I can go ahead and use one of your alert birds. They can't establish what these things are.
Yeah.
Just a second. Yes. Okay, so they're still trying to decide here what to do. You say you might have one?
Well, Sergeant McClary said we had one on greater than 1 hour, but I believe that's just because we don't have a pilot here for it.
Oh, I see.
But I'm pretty sure they're all uploaded.
Yeah.
He's checking that out with the ground crew now.
Okay.
Did you hear the confusion during the first half of that audio? He's like, who are you? What's the office's phone number? How do you spell your name? I don't know who you are. Why do you even have this authorization to begin with? And you can hear that just at the very, very beginning. And Cassidy, thank you so much for that as well. And put in the chat if you knew about UFO officers. Let me know in the live chat. Please let me know in the comments as well. I do try to read all of the comments. But these objects exhibited extraordinary speed, covering distances of 30 to 40 miles almost instantaneously. They also had the ability to ascend vertically in what seemed like a split second. And this was recorded by a pilot that witnessed this firsthand.
28, you control it? Yeah, Major Healy. Right. Oh, yeah, Major Triple here, lads. Okay, they've finally gotten Captain Bellant, UFO Officer Edwards, our lieutenant, and he said yes, he would like to have a look. We're getting plenty of live data as well as visuals on these things. About 40 miles south of Edwards, several of them running in the altitude, the ones we're measuring, from 4.5 to 6,000.
Sorrells, with his extensive knowledge on various type of aircraft, was certain what these objects were not. They weren't helicopters, they weren't airplanes, they weren't any kind of balloons, it wasn't weather or otherwise, and it was also not part of any laser show. So Sorrells wasn't the only one that seemed convinced that it didn't have a conventional explanation.
That's Forecatcher. All right, Forecatcher, between WD3. I'm getting some reports for Edwards Tower, Victorville Tower, and several radar sites about the UFOs. Are you launching any balloons out of Edwards? Any balloons? Yeah. None that I know of. I see. Well, does Edwards have a... Edwards don't have a Raven sign unit to send up. So I doubt if they linked anything, they wouldn't have no reason to. There wouldn't have any reason to send balloons. Not the weather section anyway. Out of Edwards, huh? No. I see. Unidentified flying saucers? Objects. Sure. No, they have no reason to launch any weather balloons. Lad? Roger. Sergeant Charles, Edwards Control Tower again. The UFOs officer from Edwards has just confirmed this one. Over the field, he has seen this one. The captain at F1 has seen this one. I have seen it, and the UFOs officer says it appears to be an aircraft to him. It does not appear so to me. It appears to be an aircraft? He says it appears to be an aircraft. Approach control has nothing on any aircraft. It's moving too slow to be at that altitude. The captain said that was, he just used the biggest aircraft either because of the light situation. Yeah, there's only two lights, a white and a red. I see no green. The UFOs officer saw this one. He thinks it's an airplane. I do not. I don't either. Captain Clark? Yes. Lieutenant Fitz, WD here. Yeah. I see. What do you think of it? Well, I'll tell you, when I first saw the thing, it was approaching the base from the north, and it looked like a fairly low altitude, probably 10,000 feet. And I got a good look at it with the binoculars. It seemed to be pushing a little cloud in front of it. And I thought, well, first, it looks like a routine beacon hitting the cloud. Yes. And but it just stayed right with it. And then it turned a little bit more westerly and gained a tremendous amount of altitude. Lance? Yeah. Roger. This Sergeant Charles control our tower observation on that last one that reported all over Edwards. Right. It is almost invisible now with the naked eye. Do you have any others visible around the area? Yes, sir. I still have the original one. He has moved now to approximately 145 degrees. I see. And estimated 40 miles and very, very high now. Hey, what's up between? Right, Phoenix AST. Roger. I understand you got some UFOs. Roger. Whereabouts are they? Edwards, Victorville area. Oh, I see. Well, I thought maybe they were closer to us. No, afraid not. I got word you were using Vegas or something. Roger, we've got Vegas on eliminate here. Well, what information have you got on them? Not very much, except they're flashing green, red, and white. Or green, red, and blue or something.
How many is supposed to be?
I don't know what the latest count is. It's getting pretty good.
Of course, around Edwards, you'll have to see most anything.
Yeah. So anyway, we're about to scramble a bird off on them, so if we could keep Vegas' data, we'd appreciate it much.
Oh, okay.
Roger.
I'll stick it in.
Echo Mike.
Did you catch that? At the very end of the audio, he says, it's Edwards. You can see almost anything. You can catch almost anything. Was he implying that there were other sightings like this before? Now, you can make your own assumptions here, but that little tidbit out of that whole audio really caught my attention. Peter White, Will Tower, thank you so much for that. If you are enjoying the show, hit the like button. We have 1,200 people watching, 476 likes. Hit the like button. We still have so much more to go. But the objects displayed varying degrees of mobility. The original, larger UFO remained relatively stationary, making only minor movements over a couple of hours. In contrast, the three smaller individual objects were far more agile, darting in various directions, north, south, east, west, with incredible speed. And these smaller objects were also closer to the base and the ground, estimated to be at altitudes of around 2,000 feet or less at times. And yet, while the pilots and air traffic controllers were dumbfounded at what they were seeing, other towers were seeing similar things. In San Pedro, they also caught the UFOs on radar.
San Pedro is painting them. 3 targets, and they're all 3 around 9,000 feet. San Pedro is picking them up at 9,000. Roger. What about Boron? Boron, we're working with them to see if we can get them on them now. But those 3 little dots out there, and I'd say that there are 3 definite objects. It's not weather, it's not clutter. They see the objects, but they don't see, they're not aircraft. No, they can't tell what they are. Scramble on. You got to scramble on them. I'm curious to find out what the hell they are. Yeah, I am too. And you'd be within your rights to scramble them, wouldn't you? I don't know. You have to meet us too, I guess. Well, I see what they want to do. They're not moving hard at all. They watched them for 30 minutes, and they didn't move at all. And all of a sudden, boom. Where are they? Don't know. Little green men.
Of course, you did hear at the end, little green men. Makes you roll your eyes, but this did take place October 7th, 1965. That was the time period. And even until the 2000s, we're still hearing that term, little green men. It hasn't changed. Will it change anytime soon? Is that adding to the stigma? Yes, it is. But again, this took place back in 1965, and that was just the thing to say. But here is another snippet of pilots going into detail on what they were seeing while they were in the sky.
All of them appear now that the red light has stopped, and they all appear to be getting up altitude rapidly.
Is that right?
That's right.
I'll go out and watch that bright when it gets there.
Okay, sir. There's 3 more of them, well south and dim.
Okay.
And I still see a red light occasionally out of one of them.
Where are they from that big bright one?
Beneath them and just a little bit south. And there's 3 of them almost in a straight line. Almost horizontal.
I see.
And I still see a red light occasionally from those, but not from the big one.
Yeah.
Space Ops boy has been observing this with me all night here. Let me get him back on, see if he's getting the same impression from it I'm getting.
Roger.
I don't like to be the only one saying these type things. Man?
Roger.
This Sergeant Charles, man. Space Ops confirms what I'm seeing. They are all rising. And there's a weatherman in Space Ops that has been observing these things all night with me, and he's been using reference points to try to judge if they were moving.
Right.
And he confirmed that they are very much higher now than they were. They are definitely going up.
Do you have any estimate on the altitude now?
I'd hate to venture a guess. I would say something like maybe 30,000, 40,000, but now this is strictly way out yonder type, off the eyeball guess.
None of them are at low altitude anymore, then?
No, sir, I wouldn't say. No, not nearly what they were. At first sighting on that one, I would have judged his altitude to be no more than at the most 5,000 feet.
These visual reports have had them anywhere all the way up to 30 and 40 grand. Still very accurate. We'd get height on the same track at 6,000. These are tower guys. Oh yeah, they admit it. In fact, one guy says, I don't like to be the only guy that sees this stuff. So he went to get somebody else. Now they've got a weatherman out there looking at them. They've got the tower people looking at them, and March Approach has them on radar. And Pedro and Boron.
So this audio was declassified. It wasn't leaked. It was declassified decades later. But 40 hours was collected and only about 6 hours have been declassified. So what happened in all those other 34 hours, we aren't sure, but I will place the links to the audio and to the transcript in the description box below once this live stream is over for you to take a look at it. Now, I will have to say a big thank you to the film producer, Samuel M. Sherman, who received this audio document back in the 90s, and he got it all scrambled up. It was all muffled. I read some comments saying it's way too crispy 1965. It had to go through a lot of editing to get it the way that we're able to hear it right here and now. And again, the person that deciphered it was film producer Samuel M. Sherman. So now you know a little bit more. I was going to save it for later, but it seems like many of you have questions now. And hey, I am here to deliver. But here's the kicker. One pilot had a clear view of the UFOs. And this audio clip, I do recommend that you listen with headphones on. So go ahead, put those on, hit the like button, and let's go ahead and play this next clip.
Target on your right, one on your left. Stand by for range. Still negative range on the target. All right, one on the left. Contact, stand by one, have partial contact at right about partial contact right over about 10 right 20. Roger, pursuit's with it, target. Right, you hold that target approximately 5 left at 17. Range now 15. Class. All contact on my target now, and no home. This object, I'd like to try and get it out all of it's out here. But should be approximately, there was approximately 5 to 7 objects, green, red, and white flashing lights. They were quickly moving. They would be stationary for some time, then quickly move straight up. Roger, we had a possible radar contact now, range of 3 miles. We're losing contact with it now. Starboard.
Radar data confirmed their presence, registering altitudes ranging from 4,000 to as high as 11,000 feet. And we're able to hear this in the communication between the pilots and the air traffic controllers. The fact that they had appeared on radar indicated that they were solid, like metallic objects. Radar operates on a simple principle. A radio beam is emitted, it hits an object, and it bounces back. For these objects to appear on radar, they had to be composed of a material that would reflect the radar signal, something that a rubber balloon or similar object would not do. And this further underscored the tangible nature of the UFOs that Searles and others observed that night.
They are converging. He seems to be maybe just a little bit south of it. Left turn, slow left turn. He's low and left. That thing is rising.
Tower, how's things look now?
He's low. Look, search high. He doesn't search high. Search very high. That thing is rising. It's rising rapidly. It looks like it's right above him from the tower now. It looks almost directly above him and rising.
Okay, Pedro, come back to the target. Come back to Interceptor.
You're in the general vicinity now. It looks much higher.
Okay, Alpha Lima's going to climb to 40,000.
No contact at 030. Hold 030. Search 15 degrees either side, 030. Okay.
Okay, tower, turning Alpha Lima 01, port to 250. Should bring him straight in over the top of you.
Over the top of us again? Interceptor still holding 25,000?
Right, and
0,000 now. Second? He's climbing. Climbing? Okay.
he's climbing to 40,000.
One of the objects is to his right and low.
To his right and low.
Search visually, right and low.
I've got a possible contact on search radar bearing you from your station 075 for 10.
075 at 10.
Roger, anything out there?
I have one at 075. I couldn't say the distance.
Right.
And high. I guess I have it. What heading's the interceptor on now?
He's on a 080 heading.
Okay, hold that.
Roger, how's he lining up?
Looks pretty good.
Luminous object 12 o'clock?
Should be 12 o'clock. 20 degrees. Port and high.
050.
He appears he's way low.
Way low?
Yes.
40,000 feet.
Still low.
Search high.
I would say he was about 100 now.
But he should be under now. Did he pass under target at this time?
Yes, about the time I said mark, he appeared that he was almost 100.
Okay, mark that spot there. Pedro?
Right.
Okay, search 10 degrees either side. Edwards,
Yes, sir.
is there one about southeast of you, about 3 miles at this time?
Southeast at 3.
Right. Yeah, southeast, much closer. We've got a possible contact there on something.
Just a moment, I see something. Let me throw my glasses on.
Take it 120.
Telling, isn't it? Cassidy, thank you so much. Choctaw, thank you as well. And DJ, thank you. 1965 NASA, pretty advanced technology, eh? Definitely. For those that didn't watch the NASA hearing, take a look at it, or you can just watch me during Strange News, kind of give you an overall analysis on that. Also, we have about 1,400 people watching this live, about 644 likes. Please hit the like button to show the YouTube algorithm that this kind of content should be showing up in the search feed. So go ahead and do that right now. But not only did military personnel see these UFOs, but so did civilians. And on the night of the incident, one man driving about 20 miles east of Palmdale saw a bright red object zipping on top of his car. And he went to a local diner, told the waitress what he saw, and the man, whose name is unknown, was very shook up about this sighting. And here is the audio for that one.
Yes. One of the telephone people that work here knew about this deal last night. He was leaving about this UFO report. And he was there. Well, this fellow went into a restaurant in Lancaster this morning, and apparently he knew the waitress in there, and he hadn't mentioned anything at all about this UFO thing. And she was telling him about a guy that came in there last night all shook up. Said he was on the highway between Victorville and Lancaster. It's roughly about 20 miles east of Palmdale here on 138. And he said this bright red object, he saw it kind of hovering. All of a sudden it made a pass right down over his car and right across the highway, and said it paralleled the highway for quite a while, and then just took off, and it like scared him to death. He thought it was going to hit the car.
Holy mackerel.
So the crazy thing about this is all these people that are sharing what they're seeing in the moment that it's happening. And yet, this audio didn't come out for decades later. Sorrells didn't tell his encounter until May 16th, 1995. Do the math. That's 30 years later, because this incident took place October 7th, 1965. But there's more, okay? There's more to this story. Because then you have another person by the name of Daryl Clark, Captain 329, part of the Flight Interceptor Squadron, George Air Force Base, California, was an alert pilot with Detachment 1 at Edwards Air Force Base. And he happened to be on duty this evening, October 7th, 1965, and was called upon to observe the activity. And his observations were all made from the ground. Captain Clark was one of the important alert pilots at Edwards Air Force Base on that night. He was entrusted with flying one of the Hotbirds, which is a plane loaded with nuclear weapons. And that also protected the western part of the United States. And skilled at target identification, Captain Clark is heard on the original Air Force recordings describing his UFO sighting on that night, which we did hear a little bit earlier. But years later, now deceased, he was contacted and he wrote a letter confirming his sighting. And here's what the letter said. One night in about July or August of 1966, as you can tell right there, he is a little bit off, but he wrote this letter decades after his sighting. He says, I saw a UFO. I was on alert at Edwards Air Force Base in California and was a senior ranking officer on duty. At around 0200 hours, I got a call from the senior control from Sage Center in San Bernardino. And he said that they had reports of UFOs and had some radar contacts. He asked if I could go on one of our F-106A's airborne. Our alert aircraft were armed with nuclear weapons and were only authorized to fly by order and proper authorization with top secret people. And so he declined to go that far. I grabbed the binoculars and I got a better look. The UFO was about 10 miles northwest of my position at first sighting. It continued south until it was almost due west of me. There, it made a 90-degree right turn and started to blink at a 45 to 50-degree angle. All I could see was the pulsating, not rotating light, and what appeared to be a small cloud pushed by a vehicle I could not see. The UFO never leveled off. It just continued to climb. Aircraft always show movement in relation to the stars, but as the light moved higher, it seemed to become stabilized with the stars. In other words, it appeared to move right into the space until it finally passed out of view. As soon as it disappeared, I called radar control, i.e. Edwards Approach Control, and asked if they had seen it on radar. And they said they had seen nothing in that area. 3 other people besides myself had seen the light and followed its movements, but no radar contact had been made. Which is something that is so crazy here. And I have asked quite a few people my age if they knew about this case, and they don't. And I didn't until recently. And I believe to understand that the UFO situation today, you must get familiar with such landmark and mind-blowing cases such as this one. Young people today just getting into the topic, so many have no clue about such cases or the rich history of UFO sightings over previous decades. And this is a great example of that. But even Project Blue Book looked into this, and they too wrote a report, and I have that for you. So I'm going to share my screen here and read it to you. So there is that. Let's pull up this image here. Perfect. All right, here it is. And it says here, right here where I have my cursor, it says, tower operator first noticed flashing lights. Of these 7 objects reported visibly, 4 persisted longer. These objects seemed to be in formation and they varied in their flight path. Their main change was an alteration. They appeared to hover and then rise in a near vertical direction. These objects looked like all the other stars, and after a while, they just seemed to blend in with the other stars. The other 3 objects just gradually faded from view after a short time. Radar contacts came from relatively dispersed areas. All the contacts obtained were difficult to hold because of slow speeds involved. The height finding radar similarly had little luck to giving valid changes and alteration. There was no overall discernible pattern to the flight path of the object when considered as a whole. Now, as you know, Project Blue Book was really all about debunking cases, and I truly recommend watching the TV show Project Blue Book. It is amazing, and I'm so sad they're not making another season. But that show right there gives you a very good understanding of what Project Blue Book was during that time. And while it's gained a lot of, I would say, notoriety, a lot of fame, and a lot of intrigue, their purpose was to say, nope, it's not aliens. There's a conventional explanation for this. And here, that's kind of what they're trying to say in their description as well. But I do find it interesting that Project Blue Book was involved in doing the research for this case, because it just adds another level, I would almost say, of credibility, like something worth looking into, because that's what they did, and that's something that we should do as well. If you enjoyed the show, hit the like button. Have you heard of this case before? It's kind of referred to as the incident, but I can't help but imagine what hasn't been declassified from pilots and radar controllers. What secret files and recordings are gathering dust that would just blow our minds? I would optimistically have to say probably a lot. Probably a lot of paperwork, probably a lot of recordings are collecting dust in some office somewhere, maybe in the middle of nowhere. But for the time being, we have this incident. We have people coming forward. We have the audio. And of course, while it did come out decades after the incident, at least we have it today to look at and to get interested in, because the UFO mystery, UFO history as well, it's very rich. And people say, oh, just little green men, oh, the X-Files music, there's nothing to see here. But this case is just a fantastic example of the absolute amazing stories that are out there that have a lot of data being collected on them as well. So that's why I thought it was very important to cover this case today. And and remember here, I will post all of the relevant links, some of which go into great detail in the description right after this show finishes. You'll be able to find those links in the description box below. But that is it for today. On Thursday will be Mysteries with a History with Jimmy Church of Fade to Black Radio. And then on Friday will be Strange Weekly News. So make sure to subscribe, hit the notification bell so you do not miss any of these live shows that we do right here on this channel. But that is it for today. I will see you soon. Be safe. And remember, keep your eyes on the skies. If you enjoy the strange and the mysterious, UFOs, the paranormal, and cryptids, this channel is for you. So make sure to subscribe, as I do 3 videos right here every single week, and hit that notification bell so you do not miss any of the bonus content I post right here.